welcome back for another video. I am Shayla, and in this video I'm going to be doing a lot of cooking. I have family coming to town and I'm so excited about it. They're coming to stay with us for about a week, and I want to get everything done before they get here so that I can sit down with them and actually have a good time. I have a homestead, we have 6 kids, I don't know, and I also have a garden that is really needing a lot of attention. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sit down like I'm hoping to be able to, but I'm gonna try to get as much done as I can this week before they get here, because I have been looking forward to this for months. And I really want just as much time as I possibly can have to just have a good time with my family. I have not made tamales in, my gosh, I think it's been like 20 years maybe. I'm also going to be doing enchiladas. I'm gonna throw in some lasagnas in there. And honestly, I'm just gonna have a cooking marathon to see how much I can make before they get here. I also want to make up extra large batches for our family for the freezer. But whew, I also have the house cleaning to do. I've got a garden that needs weeding. I also have laundry to get caught up on. So let's see how much I can get done in this week in the life. Before I could get started cooking, I needed to treat my new butcher block island top. That's right. I finally got my butcher block island. Okay, I have wanted one of these islands for 23 years. For 23 years, I have been dreaming of a butcher block island, and I finally now have my butcher block island. But not only that, with that, we had to set up a new under the island space. I'm not sure what else to call it. We can't get the cabinets at this time. We need to like spread that kind of thing out. Like I would have loved to have gone and got all the cabinets for underneath the island, but you know, cabinets are pricey, and we're just gonna have to like see what we can do. And in fact, what I ended up doing, ooh, I can't wait to show you. What I ended up doing is something that you can do if you need an island but you can't afford cabinets. So I'll show you what I did in this video. I am going to save that for the end, and I'm also going to show you what I treat the top of the butcher block with that you can also use on cutting boards. As usual, there will be a devotional later in this video, and I have a special message about women's health. But first, let's get cooking. I love enchiladas. One of the reasons I love enchiladas is because they are so easy to make a big batch of, put in the freezer, and just pull out as you need them, and they make a super fast, super easy dinner throughout busy weeknights. I also like them because you don't really need a recipe for them. I just mix up a bunch of chicken and cheeses, and really with cheeses and chicken you can't really go wrong. If you're on a budget, you can also add beans and rice to your enchiladas. As long as you don't overdo it, most of the time people don't even know it's there. I am cooking up a large quantity of chicken. I have chicken breasts here, and I'm adding a considerable amount of taco seasoning and garlic. Lime is another great addition to this recipe. I'm going to cook this up, but I'm also going to prepare some hamburger. I want to do beef and chicken enchiladas. Of course, separately, not the two meats mixed. I absolutely love big batch cooking. Of course, big batch cooking for our family doesn't last as long since we are a family of 8. So I have to do extra large big batch cooking, especially since half of our kids are teenagers. I am going all out with these enchiladas. I'm even making my own tortillas, and part of the reason I'm doing this is because some of the members of our family have issues with wheat. So because of this, we like to do sourdough. At times, we like to add other grains like gluten-free grains just to give our bodies a break for a couple days and also get nutrition from the other grain families. When we do wheat though, we like it to be sourdough, organic sourdough specifically. If you guys want my tortilla recipe, you can find it. I will have it below in the description, but if you want a printable version, head over to my blog. The link will be in the description. What I'm doing here is I'm cooking up all of this meat for the enchiladas and for the tamales. They're gonna have the same filling. The only thing I'm going to do differently with the tamales is I'm going to blend it up a little bit finer in my KitchenAid. In these scenes, I'm using up our super sweet and delicious goat milk for some chèvre. If you don't have goats, you can use cottage cheese. It works really well. added cheddar cheese and a chevre to these, and I've pulled some aside for the tamales. Everything is going into the fridge while I prepare the tortillas and the masa harina. But I'm not going to get to the masa harina today. It's going to be later this week. I think the kids and I must have made up 100 tortillas. I love cooking with my kids. It's a great way to spend quality time with them. When all of the children were really little and too young to help, which doesn't seem like it was that long ago, it would take me like 2 hours to do enough tortillas for enchiladas. And I remember by the end of it, standing there, my legs would be like throbbing. Now, since there are so many and we all work together, it is gonna probably take us an hour to do twice as many tortillas as I used to do when they were all little. For the expectant mamas out there, something I used to do that made my postpartum just really wonderful is I would make enough food for an entire month and a half at least. I would, for the last 3 months of my pregnancies, I would spend as much time cooking as I could, and I would just stock my freezers with enchiladas, lasagnas, casseroles, and it made it so I could literally lay around for about 3 weeks after the babies were born and just recover and have a peaceful postpartum. Kids are gonna assemble the enchiladas while I go milk the goats. With all hands on deck, this is about how many enchiladas that they got done with in a 20-minute time period. Pretty cool, if you ask me. I'm going to put them into the ZWILLING bags now. These are a vacuum-packed bag. I really like these ZWILLING bags. My favorite thing about enchiladas is being able to pull them out and heat them up quickly, especially on those days that are super busy when I forgot to make a dinner plan in the morning.
Mommy, the ones at the back are mine. Mommy, these two are mine.
Oh yeah?
The ones right here.
In this scene, I'm teaching my oldest daughter how to make my special cheesy white sauce for the enchiladas. Now we're going to stir this just to, This was about right in here, and then I fed it, which brought it up to about right there. So it has risen. I need it to get up to about here, and I'm hoping that it does it soon because I am just pooped after today. About my new apron. I think I'm gonna give it away. This thing, it doesn't fit right. It doesn't fit right. I thought it was so pretty in the pictures, and I knew that you guys would like the crossback. I don't know what it is about this apron though. It makes me look about 50 pounds heavier than I am, and I really don't need that. And I love the color. Ooh, I love yellow. But this thing has been like all wonky all day and I feel like a bleeding Picasso over here. It's just, this isn't working out. This apron is not working out for me. It's just not working. You know, I was trying to be cute for you all. I think I just ended up being a comedy in this thing. You guys tell me what you think. Yay or nay on the yellow apron? My son down in the garden on the tiller. I don't know what's gonna happen with our garden this year. I can see storm clouds coming in over there. We have blue skies over here. The weather in our state has just been all over the place. Everybody's saying we have bipolar weather. We just had a frost in June. That's how crazy the weather has been. And so our garden is so confused. It doesn't know what's happening, and things are looking to be a month to a month and a half behind. It's a little bit concerning. My husband, he's been praying over our garden like almost every morning, probably at least 2 or 3 mornings a week. I guess not every morning. But the plants just aren't thriving, and I don't know why. We have had our soil tested last year. Theoretically, things should be growing well, and all I can think is it's just the weather. The weather has been like 80 degrees one day, and then we'll have a few days where it drops back down in the 50s, and some days the 40s. You know, like nights where it's in the 40s, which we always have cool evenings where we live, but this has just been really crazy weather. We're just gonna have to see what happens with our garden this year. We like to grow, our goal is to grow 80% of our produce and our food. I don't know that that's gonna happen this year. I don't know if you can see through the mesh, but the cabbage is starting to form heads finally. At the time of filming this, we had loads of greens coming in from the garden. Arugula, spinach, our first harvests of lettuce. A garden salad that I have grown to love is arugula and strawberries with some chèvre and olive oil. Recently, I just learned that one of the tricks to making garden fresh salads is making sure you salt the greens enough. So I've got the chèvre, I've got the strawberries. To take this just a little bit to the next level, I added some champagne white vinegar. It was so good. All right, we have a garden to table dish that I'm making tonight, Bok Choy. A lot of people haven't heard of Bok Choy. I hadn't either until about a year ago. Bok Choy is the bomb. It is so good if done right. So here is the trick to cooking Bok Choy. I'm gonna show it to you. Or the younger ones?
I feel like we're doing okay. We could contribute to...
Look it up.
How does that, woman?
You're trying to throw lime drops in the air, hoping they will land on your scratch. Why?
If I get right here, I'll know I hit the target.
So we got the bok choy, we got the garlic, and we have the juice of 1 lime. You could use a lemon. Usually I like lemon more, but in this case, the lime is actually better. Do you guys hear that sound? Do you know what that is? That's my husband. He's making my window trim for the kitchen. Okay, so that's gonna be our background music. It is music to my ears because, you know, I honestly don't know if I have lived in a home that had window trim for most of my life. So the trick is here is we want to get our pan really, really hot. We want this pan to basically not scorch, but definitely almost scorch the bok choy. And that is the trick to cooking bok choy. It is smoking hot, and it won't be for long. Believe it or not, this pile of bok choy is gonna cook down to almost nothing. Okay, so I've always fed the kids at about, you know, the same time every night. But my husband, he was a farm hand. So for most of our marriage, he would be home around 9:30. When you're working agricultural farmland and you're doing soybeans and corn and that kind of thing, 3/4 of the year, that is what takes up your time. And that was the majority of our marriage. He would be in around 9:30 usually. And now we have a home we're renovating. My oldest son has the chickens. We also have the goats that need to be put in and locked in at night because we live in predator country. So everybody, a few of the older, not everybody, but a few of the older people in our family, you know, it's just kind of a show up and eat when their chores are done, the chickens are done. Some of them are just off riding their bicycles and whatnot. But most of the kids, most of the younger ones especially, we have a pretty set time we eat. So this is gonna sit here for when people come in, and it'll be here, and it'll be warm because it's cast iron, it'll keep it warm for a while. And it's all done. Now, after it's served, we will sprinkle it with some of that lime juice. You could also use champagne vinegar. I have done that. I don't know, it's champagne vinegar. You could use balsamic vinegar. I don't think that would be very good though. The lime is really special with this. The only other thing that I have liked about as much as the lime is the champagne vinegar. Are you putting the goats in? Thank you.
The trees, they are singing to the tune of a song, and the wind is gently ringing the bell that brings the morning, the welcome of the dawn.
One of the prettiest things to me is when the sun starts peeking through the trees like this.
The voice of the robin.
It's day 2 and we are running so behind. I used to make tamales, the authentic way. I learned how to make tamales from a friend I had many years ago whose mother was Spanish and taught her, the authentic way to make these tamales. I'll be doing a breakdown of the recipes in this video in separate videos. There was just way too much footage for one video. It would have been a 2-hour-long video if I included all of the steps in these recipes. I would tell you to subscribe to my channel. That's not going to do you or me any good because YouTube made a change a while back, and essentially it doesn't mean anything when you subscribe to a channel anymore, unless you hit the notifications bell. Hitting the notifications bell is the only way to know when your favorite channels upload a new video, unless of course you frequent a channel often. Tamales are quite a time-consuming project, and if you don't have time to make a bunch of tamales, you can take all the same ingredients and make a tamale pie. That's right. It takes about maybe 1/8 of the time to make these tamale pies than what it does to make tamales. I can't say they're as good. They're kind of a different kind of good. Definitely not disappointing. In this scene, I am making another large batch of tortillas, and over here, my dear husband is working on the window trim. I am beyond excited to get this in. It'll be a lot more cleanable having actual window trim. This is just bare wood in these window frames right now. I've grown so used to not having trim in my home that I'm not sure I'm gonna know what to do with myself once we do get trim up. Recently, I did a boho kitchen tour and I showed you guys all around my kitchen and some of the details of my kitchen. One of the things I didn't show you guys was my gold accents, and the reason I chose gold instead of black, I knew that black accents, which I do have a few of, but I knew that an overdose of them would be expected. It is a log cabin, and I knew that if I choose all of the accessories and accents in black, that it would look good, but I felt like it would just be average. I wanted something above average. This is my dream home, and this is my dream kitchen, and I've waited for it all of my adult life, over 20 years. So to me, this place is a palace, and I wanted gold to kind of signify that. When I started introducing the gold to this kitchen a couple years ago, I felt like it really did complement the space well. I still have black, of course. So the main colors in the kitchen are black and white and gold, and of course the green from the plants. And I guess you would call it the orangish from the walls. Now I've got to tell you, I have considered painting the log. I've considered painting it an off-white. For one, it would be a lot easier to clean since it is a kitchen, and the wood pretty much just absorbs grease and everything. I don't know, tell me what you guys think. I don't know if you call it for whimsy or what, but I also have some copper pieces over here just because they look so good with this black cabinet. We have the closing of another day, and I am definitely tired again. And it's funny because as we start another day here in this scene, I'm getting ready to make lasagnas. And I think you can kind of tell by looking at me, I'm getting tired. I'm going to speak to all mamas watching this now as I make these lasagnas. And we're going to talk a little bit about women's health as I share some things that the Lord has shown me over the last 20 years of being a mom and a homemaker, plus an entrepreneur. I am in my perimenopausal years, and I can honestly tell you that in my experience, it really seems like the medical field has dropped the ball when it comes to preparing women for perimenopause and helping them through it. Now, the information I'm about to share is for women of all childbearing age, not just perimenopause, so don't go away thinking this is just about perimenopause. I also have a devotional, which I'm going to jump into right now before we get to the other information. For many, many years, there was a Bible verse that always perplexed me, even bothered me a bit. Okay, it bothered me a lot. It's Matthew 11:28 through 30. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. My struggle with this verse has always been, was Jesus thinking about mothers when he said this? Because it doesn't feel like he was. Or was he? Over the last 20 years, I've been pregnant, nursing, or dealing with miscarriages. I have wrestled to understand this verse because this journey of Christian motherhood and raising children in the Lord is not always easy, and the burden doesn't always feel light. But when I turn to Jesus, as I'm weary, sleep-deprived, or tired, I feel like I usually do get some feedback. Sometimes the feedback is, Shayla, you've got a lot of things going here that I didn't put on you. You put them on you. I really hate it when that's the feedback. And sometimes the feedback isn't that. Sometimes the feedback is that all of the things are things I need to be doing, but I'm trying to do them with a perfectionism and a perfectness that really is only going to be found in eternity. Or the feedback is that I'm trying to do all of these things in my strength, with my wisdom, instead of leaning in to the Heavenly Father's. But pretty much always, the biggest feedback I get is that I simply forgot to take care of myself again. I just got a new doctor. She's a functional doctor, so she has medical training as well as additional training. So I want to share what just happened to me as an example. I haven't been feeling well for 6 months. Now, I do have an autoimmune disease. I have Hashimoto's hypothyroidism. And I thought that was what was making me not feel well. I finally, after months, went to the doctor. Turns out my ferritin was low, which is an extremely common problem of women of childbearing age and women going through perimenopause. If you're in a season of having babies, the thyroid is always something to keep an eye on. But now I know that ferritin is as well. My point in sharing all of this, though, is just to encourage you that if you are not feeling well, if you're lacking energy, it's going to be extremely difficult to do the work for you and take care of your family. So my point in all of this is just to encourage you to slow down and go and get checked out, preferably before you end up in the same boat as I am with a lifelong, more serious sickness. Also, I know there's so much emphasis on homemaking Christian mothers to get up early before the kids. And although I do agree with this, I also believe in getting your sleep if you are in a season of sleep deprivation. So here's your homework. Do a little research on what sleep deprivation does to you, short and long term. In this scene, I am redoing our entryway. It has needed a revamp for quite a while now. So I'm cleaning this space out, and I ended up getting matching rugs to cover the area here. This is a space where we like keeping our goat milking supplies and shoes. So the goat milking supplies go on one side and the shoes go on the other. The rugs, I didn't realize it when I bought them. They're not the same length. So I had to figure out how to attach these to make them look the same length, which meant I needed to attach them from the inside. These rugs were super affordable. I got them at the dollar store. I love encouraging women to make their spaces beautiful. You may not always have time to clean because that's a consistent process. And of course, we need to clean to keep things sanitary and healthy. But cleaning is one of those things that oftentimes too easily gets pushed to the back burner. It really helps if you don't have a lot of time to clean, if you at least have decent organization and a pretty home. And I like to emphasize that it does not cost a fortune to have a pretty home. Most of the decor and organizational pieces in my home are thrifted or gifted. We've had this home for about 2 years now. It still has a lot of unfinished places, but my husband was finally able to finish this closet. It didn't have shelving before and everything was just getting piled in here. He did such a beautiful job on this closet that I almost didn't put the curtain back up. I've really been enjoying this extra organization that having this closet finished has brought. Speaking of organization, I promised I'd show you what I did for Beneath the Island. I literally shopped my house and I found things to go under the island to hold the island in place. And it turned out a little maybe hodgepodgey, but you know, my style is eclectic, boho, so it works. But here's what I do know. I have so much space in here now, and it's like pinch me. I have got space to spare. I've actually got empty spaces in this island, so I'm just gonna show you guys. All right, so what these are is simply the Better Homes and Garden bookshelves. I've had these for years. I wasn't really thrilled with their usage throughout the house, and so this worked out perfectly. Still got some sawdust on it. My husband did have to trim down the butcher block just a little bit. I'll show you what I did with the spare piece. We took the spare piece, we're going to laminate it together. My husband is a woodworker, and we'll put hot fits to be like a long trivet. I have dreamt of a nice big island for my entire adult life, and I still am pinching myself. This is so nice. I've always wanted an island where it was big enough that I could put something pretty in the center, because I'm an artist, and as an artist, you know, visual is very important to me. So this is exciting. I finally got an island that's big enough. I can do a nice pretty centerpiece with things that I use all of the time. And then I've got lots of working space all the way around it. It's a little bigger than 10% of the kitchen. So I found out, right, I researched it and found out you're not supposed to make an island that is more than 10% of your kitchen space. This is a little bit more. This is probably closer to maybe 12 or 13% of the kitchen space, but I wanted it extra large, and I wanted to leave it extra large because I'm hoping to start hosting cooking classes. I would like to start teaching people in our community how to make sourdough bread. And so this is gonna be really nice because I'll be able to host quite a few people here with this nice big island like this. To treat the top of the butcher block island, I used mineral oil first. I did 2 treatments of that, and once it soaked in, I went with a beeswax mineral oil blend. I used about 1/4 cup of beeswax, and I just got the pellets off of Amazon, and I used about 3/4 of a bottle of mineral oil. I melted this together. You want it to get pretty hot. You don't want it to start smoking. You want to get it off the burner before it starts smoking. While it's still very hot, this is when you want to start pouring it in and rubbing it into your butcher block. You can also use this on cutting boards like I'm doing here. With whatever's left over, you can save it and reheat it to use the next time you need to do it. And you're probably going to need to do quite a few treatments of this. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for the water to bead up on your surface. Once it stops doing this, you need to retreat your butcher block. I chose mineral oil and beeswax because these are food safe. I know that a lot of people will use coconut oil and things like this, but you don't want to use an oil like coconut oil or olive oil or something like that because it does go rancid. You want to use either mineral oil or jojoba oil because those do not. If you've enjoyed this video, please help out my channel by liking the video, and if you want to see more from me, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. Once again, if you don't hit the bell for notifications, you will never know when I publish a video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. It helps out my channel so much.